Hiya, I'm Tyler Barker and I'm the owner of Cola Supply. Today I really want to talk to you about work ethic, and for the last 10 years I've spent fighting for my spot at the top of this business to start within a warehouse where I was packing boxes, I was sweeping the floor, making cups of tea and checking boxes of parts every day for at least 2 years, and I was fighting every day for a spot at the next stage of the career ladder each and every day. After 10 years, I finally landed myself into a position of leadership where I now own the business where I originally started off packing the boxes and sweeping the floors. And the only way that I've managed to do this is by having a strong work ethic. It's no secret now in a modern society where everybody's work ethic has just gone down the toilet. We see it everywhere we go. We see it in hospitals with wait times. We see it in construction sites and roadworks where everything seems to take forever to get done. And I promise you, it's only going to get worse unless we all as individuals start to take more pride and a conscious effort into improving our work ethic. I've recently just come back from a visit to China. Now, what most people might have as a predisposition of a country like China is that it's very backwards, it's very third world. But the reality of a country like China is that they are light years ahead of us. And my visit there in March of this year highlighted that so dramatically. Their strong work ethic is what allows them to stay ahead of their competition. Now, the difference between somewhere like China and the UK is that in China, if you do not have a strong work ethic, you will be replaced. There are so many people within that country that are hungry for jobs and hungry to do good quality work, that if you are not achieving what you should be achieving on a day-to-day basis within your job role, you will be replaced. And trust me, in a country like China, to not have a job, you will not be living a good quality of life, because compared to the UK, you will not be given a free house or benefits or the opportunity to still have access to healthcare. So this breeds a strong work ethic, and also, and most importantly, them taking pride in their work. Some of the best examples of this when I was out there was even down to ordering a taxi or being in restaurants and asking for some cutlery. They would run. They would listen to what I would have to say or what I was asking, and watching them run to carry out this request was so comical, but it was also so endearing because this person was determined to meet the demands of this request as quickly and as effectively as possible. I'm sure you can all remember anytime you've been somewhere and you've asked something from potentially a waiter at a restaurant, or you've asked for a taxi and you've been sat waiting for 10 minutes, potentially even having to ask twice or having to call up and chase where this taxi is. It just doesn't happen in countries like China because the hunger that they have to do a good job and have a strong work ethic is so deeply embedded in their culture that they have no choice but to do a good job. Unfortunately, now in this country, we've bred this level of comfortability and complacency where procrastination now is at an all-time high. People are spending hours a day on their phones, sat scrolling, sat viewing pointless content, silly TikTok dances, silly videos that are never going to benefit their lives for the long run. And I can guarantee all of you that have spent the last few hours on their phones scrolling through content, please try and remember 5 videos that you've spent the last 3 hours watching. I guarantee that none of you will be able to do it. It just shows that everything that you're doing is breeding a level of complacency and poor work ethic, and you need to break these habits. If you ever want to be successful, you cannot spend your time procrastinating like that, and there has to be a break. Now, we are all responsible for controlling our own work ethic. As an employer myself, I spend a lot of time on this with my team, ensuring that I am setting goals that are also very achievable, but at the same time, they can be just out of reach, or what we perceive to be out of reach, because these goals that we first feel are unattainable, with the right work ethic are actually very achievable, and they are what are going to help propel us forward both in our careers and in our lives, because that's where most of the mistakes are made, and that's where most of the learning happens through that struggle. If we're a part of a team, we all need to start setting higher standards for ourselves and also for each other. When you feel like you've got someone you can count on when your standards are slipping, it helps you get back on track. But at the end of the day, no one is responsible for your work ethic. All need to start taking accountability for our own work ethic, because no one else is going to do it for us. We need to start being far harder on ourselves and setting a standard for ourselves when we're completing tasks or when we've got a job to do, that we don't half-arse it, that we spend the time getting a job done properly. Now, this is something that previous generations weren't plagued by. If a job needed doing, it got done quickly, effectively, and to a high standard, because people took pride in the work that they were doing. And it's something that we desperately need to start putting back onto ourselves to achieve this level of work ethic. The things that have helped me to maintain a strong work ethic and get to where I am today are, number one, reducing the time I spend on my phone. Now, I know that this is a hard thing to do for most people when we are spending hours a day scrolling through content on our phone. But when you're at work, you need to understand that to yield a high output on your work, you need to put your phone away. There is never an excuse to be able to have your phone within an arm's reach for you when you're in the office or whatever job that you're doing. So if you want a job done to a high standard, lock your phone away into a different room so you can't be distracted or tempted by the content that's on there or the constant notifications that are going to be coming throughout the day. Point number two is setting yourself a standard that you feel is acceptable for the level of work that you want to achieve. I always tell my team, in this life, you can either be average, you can be good, you can be great, or you can be excellent. Now, if we look at that transposed into any field, let's use football as an example. You have your average players sat in League 2 and League 1. And we all know the standard of play that you get from those particular players who are classed as average, and they are paid in accordance to their skill level. Then if we were to go to good and great, we start verging along the championship, where we've got players who begin to start seeing the fruits of their labour because they are putting in a lot of hard work and have a strong work ethic to achieve the best within their chosen field. And then finally, we've got excellent. We've got the Premier League, we've got the top players within the league who excel and have the strongest work ethic, who work hard no matter the environment that they're in, and they spend each and every day taking pride in the work that they do and sacrificing at the same time to ensure that they keep to the standards that they set themselves. It is impossible, no matter what field you're in, to ever achieve greatness if you are happy to work to a subpar level. You will never achieve anything. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing, but you must be prepared to live an average life if you're only prepared to put in an average amount of work. If you want to be good or great, understand that it takes a good or great work ethic to get there. And if you want to be a part of the 1%, then you have to sacrifice and truly uphold that work ethic for a long period of time in whatever chosen field you do. And try not to flit around and pick and choose different areas, because you will never succeed by dividing up your time into so many different sectors. You need to be laser focused in one particular field and have an incredibly sharp mind, strong work ethic, and set yourself a good working standard. This is something that I'm truly passionate about, and I genuinely believe that if everybody in our country and in the world dedicated that little bit of time to improving their work ethic and the standard of work that they put out, where they take pride in what they're doing, the world will be a much better place. So please, let's all make a concerted effort to understand that the work that we do has a massive benefit to the people around us, but most of all to yourself. And you owe it to yourself to work hard on a daily basis to achieve what you want out of life. So that's it for this video. I I'd be really interested to hear of any hacks that you may have for improving work ethic or the standard of work that you're putting out. Please comment them below, like and subscribe, and follow for more content coming soon.